know the sweet little girl who you fell in love with and married no longer loves you, and she's disrespecting you, she doesn't want to show you any intimacy. The more you do for her, the more angry she gets, and you want to know exactly why. Well, it's very simple. A woman must feel protected and provided for by a man. And what most men are doing today in this world is not protecting a woman's emotions. It's really that simple. And a woman, in order to fall in love with a man and remain in love with a man, she must feel safe with him. When she feels safe with him, she feels comfortable with him. When she feels comfortable with him, she lets her guard down with him. And then she's able to relax with him and she's able to respect him. So what men do wrong is they, first of all, have gone into relationships without fixing the past. Most of my clients who come to me have either had a distant father or a father who has been not able to have a good relationship with his mother. So the mother has taken the masculine role in the relationship, and the mother hasn't allowed the man, the child, her son, to then develop true masculinity. So he's been deficient in that masculinity. He's not able to pull away from his mother, and he's not able to then set boundaries with his mother. So what he's always tried to do in his life is try and please his mother to make his mother happy. And that's where the saying comes from, happy wife, happy life. Well, let me tell you something right now. What must always start with a man, and this is what I do with my coaching clients, is you must reverse it. Your life must be happy first before you attract a woman. You must be on point as a man before you bring a woman into your life, and especially before you marry a woman. You don't fix things when you're married. It's easy to do if you're on the right training, but you might as well get it right prior to all of that, because all you're then going to do is your mother is then replaced by your wife. So everything that you didn't do right with your mother, you're then going to start doing wrong with your wife, okay? So when she starts pulling away, what you're trying to do, you're trying to please her, you're trying to solve her problems, you're trying to do things to her. Essentially what you're trying to do is to get rid of the anxiety in the relationship. Now, what I did different from pretty much all of my friends is I left home at 17 years of age. I wanted to leave home, and my mum got pretty upset. She says to my dad, do you think he'll ever come back? And he says, no, Davey's not like that. He's independent. I needed to break away from my mother. I love my mother. I speak to my mother at least twice a week, okay? But I had to get away from that situation. My mum and dad didn't have a good relationship. They ended up getting divorced and moving back in. It wasn't good. And when I left home at 17 years of age, the relief I felt, and just having that freedom as a man, I moved into my own house. I had my own car. I had a very good job. I was 17 and a half when I left home. So what happened to me is that I was able to grow very, very quickly and mature very, very quickly from 17 to 21, 17 and a half to 21. Okay, there's a lot of things going on in my life. But what I was able to do was then set boundaries with my mother even more, because I wasn't living with her. I'd go and see her, and then I then started seeing things that were going wrong in other people's lives because they weren't fixing problems with the mothers, and then they were allowing the wives to get away with it. So it's a vicious circle. It is a complete vicious circle. You must please yourself first. You must get your own life on track. Then and only then can be truly selfless with a woman. That's the only way you can do it, because your masculinity is on point. You know what you expect, you know what you're going to allow, but more importantly, you know what is expected from you. I'm going to say that again. You know what is expected from you from a woman. That's the difference. You also have a life outside of a woman. Again, an observation that I make, and I've seen this with all my clients, is what happens is they'll meet a woman that knocks the socks off, and they stop doing all the things that make them a man. They stop hanging around with friends, they stop having hobbies, they stop having passions. Essentially, the woman becomes his life. The woman becomes his happiness. She doesn't want that. When a woman feels that you've got nothing else going on in your life and you only want to please her, then she gets really annoyed. So when you're looking at the woman in your life, your marriage that's going wrong, you might be living with a woman, you've been living with your common law, still a wife, in the eyes of the law anyway. What happens, and get this really, really clear, when she starts getting disappointed in you, when she starts getting annoyed and niggled with your masculinity, you would have not noticed it. It would have built up over a couple of years. She would have dropped hints indirectly, because that's how they communicate. She would have withdrawn her attention, her affection, probably won't go into bed with her as much as what you would do. She'd be disrespecting you in front of friends because she's trying to get a reaction from you. And what happens when that is happening? Guess what you're doing? You're doing more to please her. You're coming home early from work. You're buying her flowers. You're trying to clean up around the house. It's all there to get rid of the anxiety so she comes back to you. That's not how you do it. It is as simple as that. One of the things I tell my clients when they're training with me, I get them to say this. It's really simple. It's just a phrase that you use because you have to draw a line in the sand. If a woman has threatened to divorce you, okay, 99% of the time they don't really mean it. They're doing it for effect. They're trying to get away from the pain of the relationship. But what you've got to do isn't please her. You've got to get her back on track. You just say, look, I'm really disappointed that you want to leave the marriage. I want it to work, and I can only do my part in making it work. I've realized that I've let you down and I'm accountable for that. But at the end of the day, I want the best for us. So I'm going to work on myself in the hopes that the marriage will come back on track. If it doesn't, I have to be prepared that you're going to leave forever. So I have to be prepared to make sure my second wife doesn't leave me. I have to become the man that I love again, so a woman will truly love me and want to be with me. Do you see how easy and simple that phrase is? You can phrase it yourself. I give a couple of my clients options on how to do it, but you must draw a line in the sand. You must have that line in the sand, because if you've not got that line in the sand, what happens is you're pushing her and going to her. You have to draw that battle line, say, right, this isn't going to go anywhere from here. On my side, I'm not going to do any more to try and win you back, which is needy, which is desperate. I'm going to think, no, I respect myself. I don't like being yelled at. I don't like being disrespected. I don't like being talked down to. I don't like being with somebody who doesn't want to be with me. I accept that's where you're at. You know, this is what you're saying to her. But at the end of the day, I've decided I want to move on with my life and I want the marriage to get back to normal, but I can only work on myself. Do you see the difference in that? Do you see the difference in that? I'm going to leave this video training there because I've covered things that should really start highlighting light bulbs in your brain. You're thinking, right, yeah, that makes sense. I get that. Oh, I can see myself doing this. Okay, this is how these things work. But watch the training video 2, 3, 4, or 5 times, okay? And then it'll start resonating with you. Now, if you've reached the stage in your life where you realize you cannot do this on your own, and it's an ego deflator, and that's where we need to be. You must reach a stage where you think, if I don't get any help in this situation, then my marriage is in the shitter. If that is you, and you need to be coached, then I'm offering a 30-minute discovery call. On that call, if I decide 2 things: 1, your marriage is salvageable, and 2, that I know you're prepared to invest and do the work, then I will offer you the opportunity to work with me. The link to book that discovery call is in the descriptions, okay? Thanks for listening, and we will speak to you soon.